Hi guys, good evening everyone. This session is all about XAT essay writing. So we are specifically, you must have seen by now that there is a new addition to XAT essay writing. आपने देख लिया होगा उन्होंने एक और वापस से डाल दिया है उसको 2019 में बंद कर दिया था. So they have re-added it. Okay. So there are a couple of things that they are doing new. कुछ भी नया नहीं है ऐसा होने को, लेकिन ऐसा कह सकते हैं अपन कि 2019 में उन्होंने बंद किया था. तो जब 2019 में उन्होंने बंद किया है तो आई थिंक अभी वापस से रीस्टार्ट कर दिया. टाइमिंग्स तो ऑलमोस्ट यू वुड हैव सीन बाय नाउ. इट्स सेम that they have allotted to part 2. So in that 10 minutes you can allot to GK section, 10 minutes you can allot to GK section, and almost 15 minutes you can allot to essay writing. मार्क्स एज सच मार्क्स अलॉटेड नहीं है अभी उसका. ठीक है, उसका मार्क्स तो ऐसा होता है कि वो इवैल्यूएशन होता है सिर्फ एक्सएलआरआई के लिए. तो व्हाटएवर एसे यू आर राइटिंग, दैट इज नॉट फॉर लेट अस से अदर इंस्टीट्यूट्स. सो इट विल नॉट रिफ्लेक्ट इन योर परसेंटाइल और एनीथिंग. इट इज ओनली एंड ओनली फॉर एक्सएलआरआई. So in the interview room, when you are sitting for XLRI, they will evaluate, and they will be asking certainly for sure questions from what you have written in the essay. So मान के चलो फर्स्ट स्टेज पे सेकंड स्टेज का काम चालू हो जाता है. ठीक है सर, मिला आपको ये वाला? इसमें सर मैंने सारा जाट का टॉपिक्स भी डाला है लास्ट 5-7 साल का.
Yeah, sure. So should I get on with this?
You have it?
I have it, yeah.
So you can upload that and we can start.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay, you're able to get my screen?
Yeah, sure, sir. दिख रहा है.
Okay. So let's get on with this. This is basically the essay writing part component of that, like Eddie sir was telling you a little earlier. And this particular essay writing is quite similar to the written ability test in CAT, or for that matter, quite similar to the GMAT, GRE test of issue task. Not GMAT, GRE test of issue task. Now, let's start off with how exactly the whole thing is to be done. We first try to understand that this format could be anywhere between 250 to 300 words, and you get roughly about 15 minutes time to actually write your essay. So in these 15 minutes, the kind of topics that you're going to get would be some kind of a debate topic where you've got to come out with some clear stand. In fact, before we actually start writing this essay and trying to develop all the good and bad things of these essays, I will fast forward you to I'll fast forward you to certain things that we are actually aiming for. Consider these. This is what we are basically aiming for. These contain all the ZAT topics that came out in some previous years. First, analyze these topics. After that, we'll talk about how to actually write the essay and things like that. Take, for example, the latest one that we have on the screen here, because after this, the essay writing sort of disappeared from ZAT and it reappeared again this year. The last topic that we have is ethical practices and sustainability. Do they coexist or not? Do they coexist? Globalization and jingoism, that is the warlike nature, always coexist. Technology and nature are natural enemies. Now, if you look at all these things, none of them are descriptive essays, that you are not supposed to write some emotional stuff and write a huge big description of the thing. All these are essentially debate topics, and there are only two acceptable answers. Either you say yes or you say no. None of these things would really accept a middle of the road answer. For example, listening is a dying art. I wish to conclude that maybe in some conditions it is a dying art, but in some other conditions it is not a dying art. I would be basically kicked out. Either I have to clearly agree with this or clearly disagree with this. There are no two ways about it. So, keeping all these topics in mind, notice that we are trying to put a debate topic into writing, basically called issue task in the GRE language, written ability test in the CAT language, and an essay in the XAT language. Now, how do we actually go about the whole thing? For that, we come right back to the start of the whole thing because that is the goal. The ultimate goal is to develop an essay like that. So, as far as the format is concerned, right now you can make up your mind that it is about 250 to 300 words. You need to write it up in 15 minutes, all those topics that you have seen. This way or that way, you've got to get it through in 15 minutes. And then also try to understand what exactly the examiner is looking for. In 15 minutes, you want to write something or the other. So, what exactly is the examiner is searching for? Basically, they are searching for some clarity of thought. They are seeing how empathetic you are regarding the topic, how firmly convinced you yourself are regarding your own point of view. And then, of course, a bit of English that shows some expression. The content, I mean, whether you're writing something relevant or you're going totally off topic. Then ideas and development. This basically shows your planning skill, how nicely you organize the content and you present. Sometimes you don't have much to present because you may not have too much of ideas about that. But that doesn't matter. Everyone is sailing in the same boat. So the depth of the topic, the perspective, the ideas and development that you have, all these things are looked at. And the structure and organization. This idea and development ultimately takes you to the structure and organization. How exactly you organize your essay. Now, these are the things that the examiner is looking for. No matter what your stand is, maybe you agree with the topic, maybe you don't agree with the topic. How clear are you about it? How empathetically you can express either this side or that side of the topic. Now, we move on. The basic way you need to write an essay is something called, by an acronym called CODER. In those critical 15 minutes during which you write that essay, these are the 5 steps that you are expected to follow. So in those 15 minutes, you got to collect your ideas, you got to organize them, you got to develop them, express them, and finally review them so that you don't make too many mistakes out there. What does each of these steps imply and what are you supposed to do? We look at that. We start with collect ideas. What does collect ideas mean? It means you think about the topic. Don't make up your mind straight away. That comes a little later. First, think about the topic in some unbiased way and try to write down both ideas which support the topic and which oppose the topic. This is important. I want you to write both the ideas that support the topic, a few points, maybe 2 or 3 points. I don't think you'll get time to write more than that. And ideas which oppose the topic, maybe a couple of points that oppose the topic. Please do not develop an essay that contains all your thoughts on only one side of the topic, ignoring totally the other side of the topic. In such a case, the essay would look very biased and very one-sided. It appears to be an immature essay or written by an immature person who really can't appreciate the other side of the topic. So you need to understand the other side of the topic also, or at least convince the examiner that you know the pro side and the con side, and then argue in such a way that one particular side, your favorite, ultimately wins. In collect the ideas, You just close your eyes, spend a few minutes, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes, and try to collect your thoughts regarding this topic. Try to come up with at least 2 points on each side of the topic, total of 4 points. Now, you get a total of 5 minutes to collect your ideas and organize them. The first 2 points, C and O, are to be done in one-third of the allotted time, 33% of your time. Some people call it 30%. From my side, you get 5 minutes. Out of those 5 minutes, 3.5 minutes are supposed to be used to collect your thoughts. And then the last 1 minute, you try to organize your thoughts. What does that mean? That means look at the points that you have actually written on your rough sheet in 2 columns, agree and disagree. And then you decide which side is heavier. Your own personal opinion, your emotional opinion of which side of the topic to support, keep it aside. This is not the time for that. Your emotions can come later. Look at the written evidence on your rough sheet and see which side is a bit heavier, which side looks more convincing. Then at the bottom of the page, write conclusion equals, either write agree or disagree. It depends on which side is heavier. If the disagree side is heavier, you write conclusion equals minus, your conclusion equals disagree. If the agree side seems to be heavier, write conclusion equals agree or conclusion equals plus. Plus means you agree with the topic, the short form notation. Minus means you disagree with the topic. You get 1.5 minutes time to choose that conclusion. Immediately after which, in those 1.5 minutes itself, you try to label the paragraphs. See, when you are expected to write about 250 words, the standard number of paragraphs that you write would be an introduction, 2 main paragraphs, and 1 conclusion. So, 1 main paragraph should cover the points which favor your conclusion. 1 main paragraph, the second main paragraph, is about those points which are against your conclusion. Remember, a few seconds back, I said my conclusion is disagree due to the simple reason that I find that those points are a bit heavier. It's not my emotional opinion, it is what is the written evidence out there. So, my first main paragraph includes the points which are covered under the column disagree. My second main paragraph would be those points which are on the agree side. Then, having done that, we need to develop them. The first 5 minutes are already over. In the first 5 minutes, all I've got to do is 3.5 minutes, collect my thoughts, write down a couple of points on the agree side, disagree side. Next 1.5 minutes, I decide which side is my conclusion, and then decide. The first main paragraph will be on all the points which agree with my conclusion. The second main paragraph would be all those points which disagree with my conclusion. And after that, 2 more activities develop in parallel. Develop and express. Develop is a mental task. You look at, I told you there are 4 paragraphs that we need to finally come out with. 1 introduction, 2 main paragraphs, and 1 conclusion. So when I say develop them, suppose you are talking about the first paragraph, introduction. It's a mental task. Try to figure out an introduction, a decent size introduction, and then frame it into words, sentences, simple sentences. Big dispute. How big is my introduction? How big are these paragraphs? So for that, the standard rule of the thumb is 30 words, write your introduction. 30 words is translated as 3 sentences at max. So 30 words, you write your introduction. First main paragraph is 100 words. Second main paragraph is 100 words. Conclusion is 20 words, which we know it in advance. I am going to disagree with this given topic that I have decided already. So conclusion is 20 words. I repeat. The introduction, take it as 30 words, 3 sentences. First main paragraph, roughly 10 sentences, 100 words. Second main paragraph, another 10 sentences, maybe slightly less. That's another 100 words. And finally, a pre-decided conclusion, that is 20 words. This is the structure of your essay. Now, think about the introduction. Dream up 3 good lines. What is to be written? We will discuss a little later. Write down 3 good lines. Introduction over. Forget it. Now, look at the points that you have written in favor of your conclusion. Try to organize them into, let's say, about 10 lines. Try to introduce the points. If you remember a quotation, an example, any statistics to prove those points, try to prove it. But remember one thing. You should heavily hype up whatever you intended to write in the first main paragraph. I repeat once again. Try to prove those points as strongly as you can. Say that these are very significant and important points. Emphasize to the examiner these points are to be really considered, because at the end of the day, it is these points which are pushing your conclusion across. Later on, these are the points that actually favor your conclusion. So defend them strongly. Use in the last few lines of the paragraph, say that consequently they are extremely important in deciding about this topic. Something like that you write. That's the first main paragraph. Now we move on to the second main paragraph. In the second main paragraph, remember, these are all those dirty points which are destroying your conclusion. Now somebody says, why the hell should I write this? They are unnecessarily destroying my conclusion. The problem is, you have to write it whether you like it or not. If you don't write them, the examiner will call you immature, who doesn't understand the other side of the topic. So it is your duty to write those points. However, this is where your creativity comes in. You have to not only write the points, but downgrade those points, destroy those points, disprove those points. And in the last line of the para, you would write, and so these points can be neglected. These points are not at all significant. These are trivial points. These are points that occur very rarely and hence may be conveniently ignored. So you understand, the contrary points have to be written, but you should have enough creativity to destroy those points and say these are all trivial points. They are not of any significance in the present analysis. This is how you write the second paragraph. No matter which paragraph is read first by the examiner, because many examiners read your essays in a random way. Sometimes they read the conclusion first, sometimes they read the second para first. God knows how they read it. And when you have a stack of 300 essays in front of you lying on the table, different essays, you read them in different orders. So net result is, whether the gaze of the examiner falls on your first para or it falls on your second para, either way, your examiner would be convinced of your point of view, because if the examiner reads the second main para, he'll clearly see that points of a particular side are being destroyed, which means common sense tells me that you are going to conclude the opposite way. If he sees the first side, first main para, he will see all the points are being hyped up and strongly proved. Net result, he knows that he want to support this side. And finally, the develop says, the D for develop says, do a mental exercise to develop the sentences in your mind. And E, express, means before you forget those 10 sentences or 5 sentences, you write them on a piece of paper immediately on your main answer sheet. This develop and express, they are cyclical processes. They have to be cycled total 4 times. Develop intro, express means write the intro. Next, develop the first main paragraph, 7, 8, 9, 10 sentences. Before I forget, write them down. Then develop the second main para. Again, dream up of another 6, 8 sentences, but downgrade them and express them before I forget. And in the fourth cycle, develop a 2-line conclusion and express them. Now, at this stage, I have already talked about, this takes place along with the, what is this thing called? Along with the XAT paper. It's part and parcel of the XAT paper for which you get about 15 minutes time. And since nowadays the essays are computer based, instead of writing them, you type them. That's the only difference. Under the word express them, instead of actually writing with a pen and paper, you would probably type them onto the screen. Now, as far as the introduction and conclusion are concerned, I haven't talked much about them so far. So the big question here is, what should I write in the introduction? Now, this is something that I have already discussed in class over the past 1 week. Introduction basically refers to a review of the problem and the table of contents. What do I mean by that? Some topic is given. Say, some topic that was there out there. I don't remember the topic exactly. Take some topic out there. And now I am supposed to write an introduction. Introduction does not mean background. Please get it into your head clearly. Introduction does not mean background. Introduction means, in the first sentence, telling what is given and what you are about to do. In the next couple of sentences, you don't have too much of space to write the intro. 30 words, 3 sentences. First sentence, you will basically write the essence of the topic and what you are likely to do. Second, you would write down the topics of your main paragraph. What exactly would you be talking in the first main paragraph? Which topics would you be, subtopics you would be touching there? In the third sentence, you write down the topics that you would be analyzing for your second main paragraph. In other words, the first line is a review of the problem, an outline of what you are likely to do in this essay. Second line, quick subtopics of your first main para. Third line, quick list of subtopics that you are likely to discuss in your second main para. No hint of the conclusion would be presented in the intro. Do not present a conclusion in the intro. Please don't start the first line of the intro by saying, I fully agree with this topic, or I absolutely do not agree with this topic. Don't start like that. Analysis is there in the first and second main para. Till such time the analysis is complete, you are not supposed to give your conclusion. So, introduction, first line, saying that in this essay, we would be discussing, suppose Is science good or bad? This is my topic. Is science good or bad? So the first line of my essay would be, in this work, we would be analyzing the appropriateness of science and would decide either in favor and are to decide either in favor or against. In this essay, we would be discussing the appropriateness of science and deciding either in favor or against. First main paragraph, we are going to, the analysis would be carried forward by looking at this, and this. Third sentence, the analysis would further be contrasted with this, and this, and a conclusion would be drawn. Or you don't need to say that, you have already said it in the first sentence. That's it. So one thing that the examiner knows is these are the 3 or 4 or 5 topics, or subtopics I should say, a couple of subtopics of the first para, another couple of subtopics of the second para. These are the 4 topics that you are going to analyze. That much of an idea the examiner gets. Now, move on to the conclusion. Conclusion is already pre-decided, standard language almost. Based on the above arguments, it can clearly be seen that the proposition cannot be supported, because I am disagreeing with the topic, cannot be supported. Alternate language, based on the above arguments, it can clearly be seen that the proposition could be supported and science happens to be quite beneficial for mankind. Alternate conclusion, based on the above arguments, it can clearly be seen that science is an avoidable evil which is leading mankind astray. Whatever is your conclusion, you can say it. Finally, revise. Now the big question, how long do you have to do this D and E? As far as D and E are concerned, you can get up to around 8.5 to 9 minutes of time can be used for this D and E business. The first 5 minutes are for C and O. Most of the remaining time, D and E consumes them. D and D don't have individual times because they are cyclic processes to be repeated 4 times. And finally, the last 1.5 minutes, 8.5 to 9 minutes you use for develop and express or elaborate. And the last 1 minute at least, please read up your essay. And in case there are any spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes, you could correct it up. That is called revise or review. That's what you have to do. As far as main paragraphs are concerned, you may use statistics, you may use quotations, you may use evidences of newspaper articles. Any fact or anyhow, you can use those things to either support a given point or oppose a given point. But be sure which points you are supposed to support and which points you are supposed to destroy, oppose. Any method you can do, not a big issue. Next, this is all about what I have just now said. Collect your ideas. That is what C stands for. Now, what if my mind goes blank? Topic is given. I have decided to collect ideas and start writing a couple of points this side or a couple of points that side. But my mind goes blank. Then what is it that I'm supposed to do? For that, there are 3 hints or methodologies by which I can force ideas to come into my mind, however little or however much I know about this topic. There are 3 methods by which ideas can be generated. They are called Keyword approach, KWA. We'll see, we'll talk a little more about it when it comes. There it is. These are approaches by which ideas can be generated. Keyword approach, viewpoint of affected parties approach, social, political, economic, legal, and technical. That's called the spelt approach. This is all one approach. These are not 5 different points. This is just one single thing called the spelt approach. So there are 3 approaches: keyword approach, WAP approach, and spelt approach. How do these things actually work? Well, keyword approach. Keyword approach works very well in abstract topics, wherein you figure out the important words of this whole sentence and try to define the keywords. While defining the keywords, you can decide whether the keyword is good or bad. Mostly, keyword approaches are not used in this debate kind of a topics. They are used in more of the descriptive essays where you've got to, or some abstract essays, where you have to first clarify the meaning of the keyword and then give an argument supporting or opposing the keyword. For example, honesty is the best policy. Write an essay. Either agree with it or disagree with it. Doesn't matter what you wish to do. Honesty is the best policy. Now, once that kind of a topic is given, since I don't know much about what is honesty and what is policy and where does this word best come from, I focus on those 3 words. Honesty. I try to define my version of honesty. Then, first, try to define the word. Try to figure out if the word has got different types. So, define honesty in some words of your own. You may not know the actual dictionary definition because the topic is vague enough. However, first define a keyword. Then, secondly, if that still doesn't work, try to figure out different types of that keyword. What are the different types of honesty? Hello, your luck is pretty bad and you don't even know the types of honesty. Then try to figure out the situations where that keyword can be used. When should I use this honesty? When somebody is lying on their deathbed, should I be honest? When somebody asks a frank opinion, should I be honest? When somebody gives me some work and asks my opinion on whether this could be fulfilled or done, should I be honest? Should I be honest towards my own self? Should I be honest towards others? These are various situations. I don't want you to write 304 situations. Just a couple of situations is more than enough for my game to be played. Once again, you are not writing a 3-hour PhD topic on this. You are writing a 15-minute essay. Never forget that. And the whole reason why you are getting into idea generation approaches, you couldn't get any decent idea. So you are forcing the idea. Moral of the story, if I get just 2 or 3 points, whether in terms of definition, whether in terms of types, whether in terms of situations, it's more than enough for me. My work is over. I don't require half a dozen points of types and situations. Next, honesty is a keyword. Well, I could try something. Bad luck. I just could not figure out anything about honesty. It doesn't matter. Don't lose hope. Go for the next word, policy. What is the policy? Define. Is honesty the only policy? Or there are other policies like being trustworthy, being punctual, being regular, being exercising daily? Are all those also other policies of life? Best policy. Which situation Which policy is better? Is honesty always better? Or is honesty not so good in certain situations? No. The whole game is just get 2 points on either side. That's enough. You're not writing a PhD thesis on this. Chalo, keyword approach fail ho gaya. There are 3 keywords: honesty, best policy. No, I couldn't get anything of it. Now switch to viewpoint of affected parties. Now, when does this approach work? It doesn't work very well in on these abstract topics. Keyword approach works in abstract topics. Honesty is the best policy. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Shall we discuss? So that keyword approaches work. When do these things work? Viewpoint of affected party. They work when clearly 2 parties can be identified in the argument, or even more parties can be identified in the argument. For example, a standard school level topic. Should we have co-education in schools? Now this is a debate topic. Moral of the answer is either yes or no. So my topic is, should co-education be introduced in schools? Now, I have studied in a co-ed school. I did not study in a co-ed school. I really don't know much about this whole thing. But people are forcing me to write something. So what should I do? Viewpoint of affected parties. How many parties are there for this topic? Well, students boys is one party. Student girls, another party. Teachers, third party. Parents, fourth party. School administration, fifth party. Society overall, sixth party. For each party, there must be some advantage, there must be some disadvantage. Now, as a boy, maybe I get some advantage, maybe I get some disadvantage. As a girl, maybe I get some advantage, I get some disadvantage. As a parent, for me, if it is a girl, the safety is important. If it is a boy, I would like some strictness out there, which maybe I wouldn't like it for somebody else. Like this, I have identified 6 parties in this uh, topic. Am I supposed to be a PhD scholar in all these 6 topics or 6 parties? No. I just need a couple of points of a couple of parties. That's it. So just get a couple of points. Maybe from the school administration point of view, I get a couple of negative points. From the society point of view, I get a couple of positive points. My game is over. 4 points, my essay is done. Now, who told you to get 5 points of each of the 6 topics, total 30 topics? No, that's not the intention behind this. Chalo, viewpoint of affected parties. किसी वजह से मेरे को parties identify ही नहीं हो पाए. Should co-education be introduced in schools? I couldn't dream up of a single party there. I forgot कि ये boys होता है, girls होता है, society होता है, parent होता है, teacher होता है, administration होता है. कुछ समझ में नहीं आया. कोई बात नहीं. Don't lose hope. मैंने I switch my approach. I say spelt approach. चल इसको ट्राई करते हैं. सबसे पहले लेता हूँ सोशल. सोशली यानी कि सोसाइटी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ये गुड है या बैड है, आई कैन डिस्कस दैट. नहीं आता है कोई बात नहीं. पॉलिटिकली को एजुकेशन अच्छी बात है या बुरी बात है? फ्रॉम पॉलिटिक्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू व्हाट डिफरेंस वुड इट मेक? क्या मैं यूनियंस बनाऊंगा क्या वोटिंग कुछ इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकता हूँ, क्या कोई वुमेन्स राइट्स वगैरह पुश कर सकता हूँ, या कुछ और चीजें पुश कर सकता हूँ, पॉलिटिकली कैसे एक्सप्लॉइट कर सकता हूँ। चलो, मैं आई एम वेरी पुअर इन पॉलिटिक्स, मेरे को वो भी समझ नहीं आया, कोई बात नहीं। इकोनॉमिकल देखो, बाय हैविंग schools for each gender separately, am I doubling my budget? By having co-educational schools, can I have economies of scale, bigger schools, lesser teachers? Can I have some economic benefits, less buildings, easier transportation? If there are two different schools, one for boys in this corner of the city, one for girls in that corner of the city, then certain economic problems will come in. More transportation, more infrastructure, more everything, this, that, something I can get. चलो वो भी समझ नहीं आया. Legal. Are there any laws? Maybe some social laws, superstitions, legal laws made by the Indian government. Like Indian government says, everybody is equal. So why co-educational? So co-educational supports Indian law, equal opportunity everywhere. On the other hand, if certain reservations for women or girls need to be given, then maybe co-education is not supported there. It is better to have different schools for different genders, like this. Technical refers to any technical aspect of this, the kind of teaching pedagogy that has to be used, the kind of games that have to be supplied, the kind of uh, technical things that might have to be supplied in school, appropriate for each gender. These are some technical aspects, whether they are possible, not possible, reasonable and unreasonable, like this. Once again, 5 items: social, political, economic, legal, technical. Of course, that E for economical sometimes also stands for E for environmental. वो एक छठा पॉइंट है जो हिडन है इसमें. आजकल एनवायरमेंट का बड़ा सीन चल रहा है, तो इकोनॉमिकल के साथ साथ एक छठा पॉइंट डबल ई आता है, वो इकोनॉमिकल एनवायरमेंटल. एनवायरमेंटली इज इट गुड और बैड? चलो, दिस टॉपिक डजंट एक्चुअली टच द एनवायरमेंट, सो इट डजंट मैटर. पॉइंट है 6 आइटम है ये, इंक्लूडिंग एनवायरमेंट. हर आइटम का एक एडवांटेज एक डिसएडवांटेज हो सकता है. पोटेंशियली 12 पॉइंट है ये, और इवन मोर अगर एक ही स्पेसिफिक एजेंडा पे if I have more points, it might be more than 12 points also. Do I really need all the 12 points and break my head on getting 12 points? No. 2 to 4 points if I can manage, my essay is done. So idea generation approaches simplify your thinking skills and get you points quickly onto the piece of paper. All I want is from all these 3 approaches combined, which potentially can give you 100 points at least, I just need 2 to 4 points. That is the beauty of these approaches. Just 2 to 4 points, 2 points for the topic, 2 points against the topic, and my job is done. Well, that's how the whole thing goes. Organization, we already talked about it. First, decide your conclusion. The moment you decide your conclusion, you will know what is your first main para, the points that support your conclusion. You will know what is your second main para, the points that oppose your conclusion. You immediately know what is the ultimate concluding para, because you have already pre-decided the conclusion. And obviously you will know the introduction also. First line, review the problem. Second line, subtopics of main para 1. Third line, subtopics of main para 2. Done. That's the idea here. Develop is something that you do. You think about the topic a little, convert them into some lines, and then very quickly elaborate them. That has not been covered here, but Just after develop, you have elaborate, you elaborate it. Now, when you are developing them, I don't know if you'll get this much time or not. Different essays require different styles of writing. If it's an informative essay, development is done in a particular way. In an explanatory kind of an essay, it is developed in a different way. But all these, don't break your head on these. There is only one thing, the last one. Just read the last one. Your essay is analyzing advantages and disadvantages and ultimately proving that either this side or that side is correct. So please read the last paragraph. The first three paragraphs is not all that important. The last paragraph is important. You have got to support the points that are there on your side, main para 1, oppose the points and downgrade the main para 2. This is express. We have gone through this quite a lot. Big long page. If you want to read it, you can read it, but I have already verbally told you what is to be done there. The beauty of this coder approach is you don't need to bother about how to connect one paragraph with the previous paragraph or the next paragraph. You can easily do this essay. The connections will come automatically. Just worry about one paragraph at a time. Don't even bother about the connection. They will still be connected because of the coder approach. Like introduction will be connected with the first para will be connected with second para, automatic. And finally conclusion will be connected with everything. This Karthik guy gave me a particular message saying that, do we need to take into account of the caption when writing or only the content matters? Caption doesn't matter much. It is the content. The caption part of it comes in MyCat, where you write a caption for your story. Here there is no caption as such. In MyCat, in creative writing, when you write a story, you will write one heading. That is your caption. Nothing to do with all this. Review. I told you what is review. And this thing, around 1/3 of the time to C and O, 60% of the time to D and D. Slight typing mistake is there. The D has to come together with E. And about 10%, that's about a minute or a minute and a half for you to revise. And as far as grammatical rules are concerned during revision, very common sense grammatical rules are: write paragraph separately, give one line spacing, start with a capital letter, put a full stop, put a comma, and if any spelling mistake is there, try to get rid of the spelling mistake. This is what grammar, standard grammar. Write capital letter after every full stop or put a comma after a phrase. If you are using quotations, put some quote marks also somewhere. I mean, these are some standard grammar stuff. This is not strictly meant for you. Now, these are some of the XAT topics that must have come earlier. Some suggested XAT topics. Or some of these topics come out in VAT also for CAT. Written ability test of CAT also has similar topics. इसमें एक चीज पॉइंट आउट करना है मेरे को. चलो नेक्स्ट इसमें पॉइंट आउट करता हूँ. नोटिस करें, in that you will get social and socio-economic topics. In CAT you will get economic and socio-economic topics. What are the difference? समझो. Social and socio-economic. Characteristic of that. Economic and socio-economic. Characteristic of cat. Abstract, your luck. Characteristics of anything. Abstract means honesty is the best policy type. That wants you to be socially aware. That wants you to have a good character. What is a good character? बड़ा controversial चीज है. Cat बोलता है a good character is the guy who can kill the cutthroat competition, make a huge profit in the bargain, and run away with the loot, and make his company great. ये cat बोलता है good character. That बोलता है no, ये सब बकवास है. You have to serve the society. You have to do good to the maximum number of people. थोड़ा नुकसान खुद का भी हो गया तो चलता है. Cat doesn't permit you कि मेरा नुकसान हो गया और मैं कोई स्टेप ले लिया. Cat doesn't like it. That likes it. That wants you to be a socially aware citizen, moral value, ethical value, respect towards the culture, traditions. These are the things that emphasizes. एंड जितने भी टॉपिक्स यहाँ इस वक्त स्क्रीन पे है, चाहे इस स्लाइड पे हो या चाहे कुछ और स्लाइड पे हो, ये वाले, इन सब में मोरल एथिकल, जैसा 2008 सीधा एथिकल पे आ गया. सो ऑल दीज आर मोरल. करप्शन 2013 करप्शन इज अगेन अ मोरल वैल्यू. Poverty is some social thing. So you notice that most of this happens to focus more on ethics, social values, and things like that. So when you are writing something, if you can support the society, things would be good. कुछ चीजों में the answer is predetermined. Cat में होता नहीं है ऐसा. Cat में when a topic is given to you, answer could be either agree or disagree, no harm done to you. That means either you agree with my topic or disagree with my topic, as long as your supporting arguments are good, I will accept it. That में ऐसा नहीं होता. That में sometimes the conclusion is forced. मतलब क्या है? मतलब ये है 2012 government is not addressing the root cause of poverty. इसका आंसर है I disagree. सोच के देखो, अगर मैं एग्री करता हूं, इसका मतलब एक स्पेसिफिक गवर्नमेंट तो है नहीं उसमें. गवर्नमेंट का मतलब इंडिपेंडेंस से लेकर आज तक मैं बड़ा एंटी नेशनल बनाऊंगा. मैं I am saying a democratically elected government is working against the interest of the society. It is exploiting the poor people. अरे elect किसने किया? Poor people ने तो elect किया. वो सबसे ज्यादा वोट तो उन्हीं का होता है. The government is exploiting the very same people who have actually elected it. And this becomes a slightly anti-social kind of an essay. If I agree with this topic. Safety कहता है, like if you are a real guy who is willing to fight it out, that's a different story. But safety कहता है कि this topic I disagree. Socially मैं aware हूँ. I really believe in my government. And just for the heck of it, I don't want to say, and the word government doesn't indicate whether it is local government, state government, central government, which government. I say, bhaiya, all governments ultimately try to work for the benefit of the people who have elected them, the majority, so that they come back to power the next time also. This is what I will say. ये forced conclusion. 2013. Corruption is the root cause of economic slowdown. I may safely agree. I may safely disagree and say something else. Lack of education is the root cause of economic slowdown. I am safe here. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. 2014 तो abstract topic है. Hardly matters. It is a safe thing. I may agree, I may disagree. Nothing against me. 15 also is partially abstract. कोई दिक्कत नहीं. 2016. Lovely topic. Technology and nature are natural enemies. Agree करूं या disagree करूं? Point here is, I am a guy who believes in green technology. I am a guy who believes that everybody can coexist, provided each fellow has the flexibility. I am a socially aware individual. I don't want to take rigid stands. I want to adapt and somehow manage everything together. का मतलब 2016 में I have to disagree. It would be foolish of me to agree and prove it. I have to disagree and somehow prove that technology and nature can survive together. 2018. Ethical practices and sustainability, do they coexist? What is the answer you want me to give? Common sense कहता है कि yes है इसका आंसर. Forced conclusion है. No कहा तो I may prove my point. That's a different story. I can prove anything. But अगर इसमें ethical practices and sustainability, do they coexist? Of course they coexist. And they have to coexist. Sustainability is itself an ethical practice so that you don't destroy the earth on which you live. So point here is, मैं इसके against जाने का हिम्मत ही नहीं रखता. कम से कम अगर XAT में सिलेक्शन चाहता हूं तो. अगर यही जितने भी लिस्ट दिख रहा है आपको कैट में आता है तो मैं जचे जो लिखता हूं. बट XAT में आता है that social, moral, ethical and भगवान जाने कौन सा pressure is acting on me, and I will choose an alternative that shows my societal values, my own personal values which are in favor of the society, in favor of all those things that are written in the Indian Constitution, secularism, liberalism, क्या होता है वो Indian Constitution में सब लिखे रहते हैं, democratic values, the preamble में जो लिखे रहते हैं 4-5 वर्ड, वो सबको मैं सपोर्ट करता हूँ. I dare not go against any of these. So that is one consequence of XAT essays, which is not there in CAT. Fine. Now, this is what is all the thing about, and we come more or less to the end of it. After that, this is the end of the presentation, but not the end of the class. Somebody said 2014. Well, just type it out on the internet. You will get enough. This is an abstract topic. You can write what you like. 2014, it says the most beautiful thing can neither be seen, touched, but only felt. Mother's love, most beautiful thing. और लिख लो ऐसे इसके ऊपर कैसे भी लिख. And you cannot see it or you cannot touch it. Mother's love, you can only feel it. So most of your emotions, anger, love, anything, any emotion of yours, it cannot be actually touched or seen. You can only feel it. Okay. Coming back to this, well, never doubt your abilities. With those 3 approaches in your pocket, keyword approach, WAT and spelt, I am dead sure that even in the most horrible possible topic, you can still get your points. All you require are 2 to 4 points. You will get it. So that's not a point at all. Now we are going to go for something slightly different so that you have a better idea of how the whole thing goes. Now, coming back to the story, I am trying to get you some samples of how these things are dealt with. So let me search up my hard drive a little. I'm taking up some sample topics, and basically in these sample topics, we are trying to see how these approaches work, how are you expected to handle these things. So once again, I am sharing my screen and have a look at the topics there and also understand the kind of topics plus the kind of conclusion. I don't know if you can see it all clearly or not. Maybe I expand it slightly. Yeah, I think you must be seeing it clear enough by now. Have a look at the first topic there, which is written in blue color. This portion of the topic I'm talking about. Do we have enough public health facilities? Agree or disagree? Well, honestly speaking, it's my choice. I can agree or disagree. But somebody told me that I am writing क्या बोलते हैं ZAT essay. No, CAT essay होता तो मैं जजेजो लिखता. But now it is a ZAT essay. In a ZAT essay, do I know anything about the society? Do I know if the society is happy or not? Well, I know society is not happy with the public health facilities. Water चाहिए, drainage चाहिए, fighting against diseases चाहिए, the Swachh Bharat type चाहिए. All these things are I want. मेरे को pollution eliminate कराना है. I am not satisfied. It would be foolish of me to say I am satisfied. I don't want anything more. That means I don't care for the society. Not a decent conclusion. So forced conclusion है मेरे side से. Do we have enough public health facilities? My conclusion is no. No बोलना ही पड़ेगा चाहे मैं कुछ भी सोचूं. I need more. I don't have enough. My conclusion is no. I need more. Now justify. अब justify के लिए point कहाँ से मिले? Keyword approach नहीं चल रहा है. पार्टी तो पब्लिक की है और कौन है? और उसका भी मेरे को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. पार्टी क्या करूं? पब्लिक पार्टी पब्लिक को तो चाहिए. That's all I can say. So थोड़ा इंटेलिजेंट बन के I go for spelt approach. Socially, education चाहिए, sewage चाहिए, construction of latrines चाहिए, clean गंगा चाहिए, more required. Politically, ये electoral gimmicks करते हैं, photo opportunities करते हैं, जैसा स्वच्छ भारत का फोटोज आते हैं ना झाड़ू लगाते हुए रोड पे, ऐसा बकवास है. तो ये मेरा I have to tell the examiner कि हाँ I am aware of all these things. Allotments of funds में corruption है. See, ultimately you have to support and oppose दोनों. First main paragraph में you write all the goody things which are supporting your conclusion. इस case में I will write all the goody things that say that we don't have enough public health facilities. We do not have. Second portion में मैं लिखूंगा all the negative stuff that is there against public health, which keep saying that public health is adequate enough. So दोनों side लिखूंगा ultimately. Otherwise, I'll be classified as a biased individual. अब political हो गया, favoritism वगैरह वगैरह. Next, economic. Economic का मतलब पैसा. पैसा मतलब बजट. अब बजट के साथ करूंगा क्या? इक्विपमेंट खरीदूंगा, बिल्डिंग बनवाऊंगा, इन दिस केस टॉयलेट्स बनवाऊंगा, सुलभ शौचालय मॉडल्स के बारे में कुछ बताऊंगा अगर याद हो तो। नहीं है तो आई विल से टॉयलेट्स बीइंग कंस्ट्रक्टेड ऑल अक्रॉस द कंट्री। लॉ, लॉ क्या बोलता है? पोल्यूशन के लॉ है, लिटरिंग का, स्पिटिंग का, नेशनल ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल है। I can say more laws should be there. I can also say enough laws are there, but better implementation should be there. Ultimately, I should ask for more. या तो more law मांगू, या existing law is okay enough है तो more implementation मांगू, because मेरा conclusion में more required लिखा हुआ है। Technical में as you can see sewage treatment plant चाहिए, energy from waste चाहिए, blah blah blah, कुछ भी करो, ये करूँगा वो करूँगा। Same way, consider the next. Now, the reason why I chose this topic or I am presenting this topic to you is I wish to emphasize the forced conclusion aspect of it, because I dare not go against this topic. Oh, sorry, I dare not go for this topic against the Jani Energo. Consider the next topic. Now, this is one topic I have to agree whether I like it or not. No, we are not ready for electric vehicle, and I give you 5 concrete reasons why we should postpone the decision. Very bad for society. Not fit for that. Array, society is dying, Delhi is dying due to pollution, and you are saying we are not yet ready. Ab kab ready hoga? So that forces me to say, yeah, beta, I am ready. अब ready है तो justify कर, क्यों ready हो? Social, political, economic, environmental, legal, technical. Have a quick look. Masses के लिए social, masses के लिए cheaper है, affordability है, employment है, safety है. Political, एलॉन मस्क टेस्ला लाना चाहता है, टैक्स को कट नहीं करते, ये वो ग्लोबल क्लाउड क्लाइमेट सेमिनार्स होते हैं, उसको कभी इंडिया को ऊपर दिखाते हैं, नीचे दिखाते हैं, ऑल दीज आर पॉलिटिकल नॉनसेंस. इकोनॉमिक, अगेन एम्प्लॉयमेंट, इकोनॉमिक में भी आता है एम्प्लॉयमेंट, सोशल में भी आता है. एक्सपोर्ट अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलेगा, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन का बेस मिलेगा, टेक्नोलॉजी बढ़ेगा, वो तो टेक्निकल में आएगा, जो भी है. एक्सपोर्ट, एनवायरमेंटल, ओह इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल तो पूरा एनवायरमेंट पे ही तो बेस्ड है. लेसर पोल्यूशन, कार्बन एमिशन, कार्बन फुटप्रिंट, कुछ टेक्निकल टर्म्स भी आते हैं मेरे को, तो कार्बन फुटप्रिंट, रिसाइकल अपॉर्चुनिटीज, रिड्यूस, रिसाइकल, रीयूज, ऐसा होता है ना. 6 R's होते हैं बाय द वे, अगर किसका बड़ी इज इंटरेस्टेड. 6 R's ऑफ एनवायरमेंट, प्रोटेक्टिंग एनवायरमेंट. 6 R's में से कुछ R's रिसाइकल, रीयूज, रीपर्पस, ये सब कुछ R's होते हैं. ये तो हो गया एनवायरमेंट. पोल्यूशन लॉ, पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल एक्ट है, मोटर व्हीकल एक्ट है, भारत एमिशंस का एक्ट्स है, क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल के चक्कर में कुछ कमिटमेंट्स हैं कार्बन फुटप्रिंट के बारे में वर्ल्ड बॉडीज के लिए, यूजिंग आई मीन replacing the refrigerant gases in ACs and refrigerators, वो कमिटमेंट्स हैं. ओजोन लेयर के प्रति कमिटमेंट्स हैं, वो सब लॉज है, इंटरनेशनल ट्रीटीज है. टेक्निकल, थैंक्स टू एलॉन मस्क यू नो द वर्ड ड्राइवरलेस व्हीकल, बैटरी टेक्नोलॉजी, हाइड्रोजन इंजन्स, फ्यूल सेल टेक्नोलॉजी, these kinds of things they come through. This is all under technical. So ले देके you must have got a decent enough idea that how the topic is to be handled. One little thing important for you to understand. यहाँ कितने पॉइंट्स हैं पब्लिक हेल्थ में? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18. Am I supposed to write 18 topics in my essay? Hey, take it easy. I just need 2 to 4 points. That's all. ये 18 points just because I am sitting in a class without any time limits and discussing the whole thing out. To really produce this essay, all I require are 2 to 4 points. Remember that always. इसमें कितने point हैं? Are we ready for electric vehicles? God knows how many points are there. Cheaper है, employment है, safety है, FDI है, Elon Musk है, global cloud है, export opportunity है, lesser pollution है, carbon emission, carbon footprint, recycle, reuse, old vehicle scrap, pollution control act, MV act, commitment है, ये है, वो blah 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 blah. कितने चाहिए? 2 to 4. This many points are written just to tell you this belt approach will save your skin one day. That's all. But what I really want is just 2 to 4 topics. Now, this kind of setup is basically for 400-word essay, which doesn't really pertain to you. This comes mostly in the CAT style. But right now you have a 15-minute essay, which means there are these 2 paragraphs are kicked out. What you actually have is this one would be 30 words, this one and this one would be 100 words each, followed by a conclusion of 20 words, and the game is up. So, are we ready for our Atmanirbhar Bharat? Is one more question. Yes bolega, no bolega. Keep in mind, officially you're free to decide. Either you say yes or you say no, but support your stand. But that क्या बोलता है? Cat बोलेगा, say yes or no, I don't care, as long as you support. That बोलता है yes, कोई doubt मत रखना. Do we need to change your curriculum as per online requirement? Yes, of course. These are 2 different kinds of study, offline and online. Should we sacrifice environment for economic development? कोई बेवकूफी कहेगा कि yes. क्या that बोलता है? If you say yes in that, you're gone. You better jolly well tell very clearly that no, I cannot sacrifice environment. तो मतलब ही नहीं है. So these are all certain that wala questions. That's why I took up this particular MS Word wala file, so that you guys understand the dangers of that. Cat hota to I wouldn't have really bothered. I would have simply said any debatable topic can be concluded either as agree or as disagree. But that में सोच समझ के थोड़ा conclude करना पड़ता है. You can't do it any way you like. So, sorry. By now, most of you would have had a reasonable understanding of that essay. And in case you have attended the WAC topic of the CAT exams during the past 1 week, which I took in all the 3 centers, JLN, VN and Ankarmal, you might have understood the differences between standard WAT CAT essay and this ZAT essay. The focus is different. In CAT, it is economic, profit, go get it. Whereas here in ZAT, it is social, concerned citizen, champion of the downtrodden. I should believe in all the latest things. I should believe in animal conservation. I should believe in empowerment and enrichment of the poor, downtrodden, tribal development. These are the kinds of stuff I should really take care of. Yeah, some guy says that online VAT classes are yet to be taken. I really don't know when they're going to be scheduled. But 90% of the online VAT classes you have already heard it just now from me. In fact, there is nothing new I'm going to tell you about the online VAT. Now, final essay on any one of these topics. Well, right now I can't give you a final essay. I can only refer you to some essays over the internet that gives you the stuff. But yeah, these are the things. If you want, by the way, how do you support your point or oppose your point? Use statistics, use newspaper facts, use quotations or proverbs of some famous guy, some great guy, you catch the quotation of that fellow. And this is the manner in which you try to support your oppose your point. Always remember that given any point, you can either support it or oppose it, provided you have sufficient creativity. And you can adjust the facts and figures the way you want them to be presented. The presentation is an art by itself. In that, essay writing will be coming. That is what the whole class is all about. Vidhi Sharma. Be very, very clear. Last 2-3 years, essay disappeared. 2018 or 19, the last essay came. And then that forgot about essays, God knows why. But all of a sudden it has remembered. And this year, essay pakka hai. I mean, the ZAT has issued a clarification. That is why this class has been scheduled. So essays are back. So don't listen to the full class and say ZAT mein essay aayega ki nahi. अरे आएगा तभी तो इतना बड़ा क्लास लगा रहा है. That is the thing. If you don't understand words like jingoism and things like that, or if you don't have that kind of vocabulary, well, there's nothing much you can do, but it is globalization तो आता है ना, उसके ऊपर लिख दो. And would you support or oppose globalization? Definitely support. And use some common sense. Globalization and jingoism, can they coexist? इसका मतलब दोनों opposite words हैं. Just understand it from the context here. Debate में हमेशा दो opposite word ही देंगे. So obviously jingoism is some opposite word of globalization. What does it mean? Well, today I know that it means having feelings of fighting and war. But suppose I don't know, doesn't matter. Globalization support कर रहा हूँ. So definitely that jingoism is getting sort of kicked out. So can they coexist? No, they can't coexist. Because I can't have warlike attitudes with friendly attitude of import-export. It is something like what we do with Pakistan. On one side, मेरे को पाकिस्तान को attack करना है दिन रात. On the other side, I talk about trade with Pakistan, cricket match with Pakistan. नहीं चल सकते ये, बस नहीं चल सकते. Subhanshu has asked me something. That में main essay option है क्या सर? का मतलब क्या होता है? I mean, what exactly is your question? Subhanshu guy, you are confusing me. Because sir, that में essay option है क्या सर? Option क्या होता है? Compulsory होता है बस. ऐसे आता है, लिखना है. Will it be considered in the percentile? Yeah, that's what I was being told. So far, एक second, this is not some qualifying round. Essay is not a qualifying round. I believe it is getting considered somewhere. That is the latest information I have. Baki KD sir can clarify a little more. So anyway, so this is it. Any specific option nahi hai. You can't skip the essay and carry on with life. You jolly well write it whether you like it or not. You can't skip it. Marking scheme of the essay, it would be treated like a standard English essay. The actual marks and other things I am not too sure, because see, that essay abhi introduced hua hai. That is the latest information that I have, that is back with essay again. एंड इसका जो डिटेल्स है वो धीरे धीरे निकलेगा. नॉट very good. I mean, I can't really put it. What can you do to prepare? Just keep your general knowledge up to date and use a bit of common sense on the topics where the answer is more or less forced. No clarity on the fact whether you will get 2 essays with an option of choosing one. I don't have any clarity on that. For all I know, you may get one single essay and good or bad, you write it on that. Whether you get an internal choice in the essay question, like do essay de diya or keh diya, write on any topic that you choose. That option I have my doubts. Again, I don't have information on that. At the moment, I assume that there is one topic, good or bad, whether I know it or not, I write it. This is the understanding. Once the essay comes into practice within the main exam, it is understood that in the college campus part, where you have to go, the standard VAT may not be there because the VAT is now part and parcel of the main exam. हाँ, पहले अगर main exam में नहीं था तो VAT अलग से लेते थे college campus में. The way CAT में भी तो ऐसा ही है. Main exam में तो you don't have VAT, but when you go to the interview or some such place, there you are supposed to write the essay. But in case of that, there are very good chances that nobody will ask you to write an essay once you reach the institute. Chances are वहाँ GD हो सकता है. So that is it. So any specific doubts, anybody, please ask. Otherwise, officially, the class is more or less over. Anything specific anybody wants to ask, you can still ask. Essay का 15 minutes time है. That is the idea. What do you mean attempting the whole essay? एक essay 15 minutes. And well, best of luck everybody. Happy New Year everybody, because I may not be meeting you before the new year again. So do well, don't be scared. 3 approaches in your pocket, 4 points required. आराम से मिलेगा. Can you please show me the slides from the beginning? Just wait for a second. I can show you the slides. You want the PPT slides? So those of you who are interested in seeing these slides once again in a quick way, you can always stay back for a couple of seconds extra. I can show you. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to figure out from my computer the correct presentation. Just a second. Let me get that. So actually screen सारे बंद कर दिया. So I'm just going back to those three. Okay, I found the correct file, PPT file. I'm putting it on share screen. Give me a half a second. There you go. Share screen. By now you must be able to see it. And this, what you are seeing right now, is the very first slide of this presentation. अब एक बार इतना बड़ा स्क्रीन आने के बाद चैट बॉक्स दिखता नहीं है. हाँ, चैट बॉक्स भी दिख रहा है. This is how it is. Format of the essay: 250, 300 words, 15 minutes. This is specifically essay. GK section वगैरह अलग है. That I am not sure. Maybe about 10 minutes, 15 minutes GK section का भी है. But right now I know about the essay part that takes you 15 minutes. GK section, KD sir will answer if he is around. Probably he is not around. Anyway, this PPT, move on to the next. Oh, sorry. These are the parameters tested for the guys who are asking me the PPT. And Harshit Thanwani, important topics as such. All the topics that you have seen on the slides. अभी आखिरी में 2 स्लाइड और आएंगे, वो देख लेना कुछ टॉपिक, उसी के इर्द गिर्द कोई टॉपिक हो सकता है. There is nothing called specific important that topics. I am moving on. ये how to write an essay में collect ideas, organize, develop, express, review, coder approach है here. The next few slides में CODER के लिए थोड़ा extra है. So I am moving on again. This is collect ideas. And to collect ideas, idea आएंगे कहाँ से? The next slide tells you ideas different approaches से मिलेंगे, which is what we have discussed so far. These are the various approaches. और इन approaches के साथ ideas generate होंगे. I don't need to go gaga over these approaches. It is enough if I can squeeze out, say 4 points, 2 for, 2 against, by using these approaches. I don't need 25 points. ये organize है. It means choose your conclusion and decide which one becomes your main para 1 and which one becomes your main para 2. That's what is the meaning of the word organize here. After that is the develop. Develop elaborate के साथ आता है. Develop and elaboration. In fact ये नीचे explanation and elaboration, develop, ये सब एक ही बात है. Round चलता है 4 times. Develop is a mental task. Elaborate is the typing task या writing task. How to write an essay? Just concentrate on the last para there. This is basically a analysis. A topic is given, you analyze the topic and take a stand. So that's the idea. And be socially conscious when you explain the when you choose your side. Be socially conscious. CAT में वो warning नहीं है, ZAT में है. ये express है. And after the express part of it, वो develop and express जो दोनों more or less the same thing है. इसका मतलब you actually type. उसका मतलब you just think. Last में review है, 1 minute, 1.5 minute time review के लिए है. So in those 15 minutes, I repeat, 5 minutes, 1/3 of the time is meant for C and O, collect and organize. उस 5 minutes में भी further split है. 3.5 minutes collect, 1.5 minutes organize, think. Then D and D, 8.5 to 9 minutes. 8.5, 9 minutes वो करो. 1 minute कम से कम या 1.5 minute review के लिए है 10% of the time. This is not relevant for you right now. Viewpoints वगैरह का तो मतलब नहीं है ज़्यादा. हाँ, somebody was asking me some important topics. इसका screenshot ले लो और उसकी अगले slide का भी screenshot ले लो. Now, some of these topics you can conclude whichever way you like. I have no problem. But certain topics, the answer has to be yes. Yeah, has to be no. So take your own call. Socially conscious, nice, aware, modernist views अगर रखते हो तो yes बोलना है या no बोलना है. आजकल ओबामा तो चला गया. दिस ओबामा को रिप्लेस कर दो बाइडेन से. जो बाइडेन आजकल ही इज द करंट हीरो. BIDEN. सेकेंड लास्ट टॉपिक. ओबामा गॉन. वो कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा. This is one more. Kuldeep, shortlisting and final selection में, I think it is going to be considered as per the latest information. Baki, Kapil sir will probably tell you. Mansi, the previous slide you said, previous slide कौन सी होती है? Mansi, which slide do you want exactly? Pointer one, ये कौन सी होती है pointer one? ये वाली. Okay. Important topic. And that is it. Thank you. Bye bye. आता है. Anybody wants any specific slide of this presentation to be shown again? यार आयुष, तुम किस दुनिया में हो यार? Today's class is meant for the paper. इंटरव्यू एंड वैट वाला वो कैट क्लासेस हैं, वो अलग है. ये जैट का है, पेपर में आ रहा है. In the real exam you have to write this. जो कैट वाला वैट है वो कैट एग्जाम तो हो चुकी है, ऐसे थोड़ी लिखा उसमें. तो कैट का इंटरव्यू कॉल जब आएगा, जब ऐसे लिखेगा, वो एक अलग कहानी है. दैट इज वैट. दिस इज जैट एसे, जो रियल एग्जाम में लिखोगे. अभी जैट हुआ थोड़ी, अभी रियल एग्जाम में लिखेगा. Okay, guys and girls, this is it. Anything else that you wish to ask? I am still there. So anybody wants to ask anything, you are free to. ये आयुष, ये MCQ सिर्फ आने वाले जमाने गए. MCQ तो आती ही हैं, खैर अब तो लिखवा भी रहा है. 2 साल 3 साल बाद जैट लिखवा रहा है. दैट इज द न्यूज. So the other guys, you want to ask me something or सो रहे थे? चलो then, see you. Bye bye. Good night.